Yep. Side view. You can see it in your thing.
Good evening. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome, everyone. We've gone right from summer into winter. Very little shorter seasons these days, but Saturday morning was quite an interesting event. Tonight is reorganization, so for one brief and fleeting moment, I run this meeting. So I'm prepared to speak for about 20 minutes. At this point in time, we're going to open it up for election of chair. And as you know, based on policy BDE, person had to give notice in order to be considered for chair. We only had one person who did put in for that, and that was Mr. Whitney. So if someone would like to make a motion to that effect.
I'll motion that Mr. Whitney to the board chair.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? So Whitney, would you like to say any words of wisdom?
No, I appreciate the support.
Okay, all right. Since there can be no other nominations based on policy, I'll ask for a motion to close nominations.
Make a motion to close nominations.
Okay, is there a second? Okay. Okay, all in favor of closing nominations? All right, we have one nominee on the floor, it's Mr. Whitney. At this point, I do have to vote. All in favor of Mr. Whitney for board chair? It's unanimous. Congratulations, Mr. Whitney. I've enjoyed my moment in the sun. It's all yours.
Thank you. We'll now do the same for vice chair. We don't have a policy relating to that, so at this time I'll open the floor to nominations for vice chair. I will nominate Stephanie Erickson. Anybody like to second that? Cool. Any further nominations? Anybody like to make a motion that nominations cease? Marcy?
No, it's okay.
You want a second, Lindsay?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor of nomination ceasing? Thank you. And all in favor of Stephanie? for vice chair? Thank you. Congratulations, Stephanie. Didn't ask if you're willing, but hopefully you are. Election of vice chair pro tempore. This time I would like to open nominations for vice chair pro tempore.
I'd like to nominate Erin.
Alright, is there a second? Second. Any further nominations, David?
I'd like to nominate Marcy.
Is there a second? All set?
I deny.
Okay.
That.
Any further nominations? Would you like to make a motion to nominations cease?
I'll make a motion that nominations cease.
Thank you. Second? Wendy? All in favor of nominations ceasing? And all in favor of Aaron as vice chair pro tempore? Alright, thank you. Congratulations, Aaron. Alright, thank you. Action on the minutes. To see what action the board wishes to take regarding approval of the minutes from the meeting held on August 22nd, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting on August 22nd.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Any discussion on the minutes from August 22nd? Seeing none, all in favor? Citizens' comments.
I
Anybody?
have a citizen's comment, sort of. So at the last meeting, David had asked about maybe getting some information or some follow-up from the PTA, our PTAs. So I reached out to them, and I have a couple of folks who are going to give an update on their PTA, and I did get something from Tanya Lewis, who is on the Crescent Park PTA, just something for me to read for her. The CPS PTA has started the year out strong, ended last year with doing their biggest fundraiser in the last 5+ years. This year started the year with a record number of people attending their first meeting, which is awesome. And then just some things that are coming up. They're working on their Halloween hallway walk, Monday, October 31st, 5:30 to 7. And they continue to work on their PTA membership drive as well. And always encourage those to join their PTA.
Good evening. I am here representing the Telstar PTA, which now includes both the middle school and the high school. We've had our first meeting as well. We met on September 6th. The current officers, I'm the president of the Telstar PTA. Marcy Winslow is the vice president, secretary is Amy Marshall, and treasurer is Heather Kellogg. We meet on the first Tuesday of every month, right here. A proposed budget for the upcoming year was presented at that meeting and will be voted on at our next meeting, which is October 4th. Our meetings are in person, however, we do offer a Zoom link for those who wish to attend remotely. Other current agenda items include our membership drive, student movie offerings, monthly muffin days for each classroom in Telstar, and our Rebel Gear sales. We're looking to continue planning community engagement activities, supporting our students, staff, families, and community. We also hope to explore ways to collaborate with our other district PTAs. If you'd like to join us for a meeting, we would love to have you. If you would like to join the Telstar PTA, you can visit our Facebook page, which is Telstar PTA, or email ptatelstar@gmail.com. The PTA's mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. I want to thank everyone here tonight that's already working toward that mission and contributing, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Destiny. I'm here to represent the Woodstock PTA. I'm the secretary this year. We just had our first meeting and we could use a few more parents probably, but we've been going strong. We still have our bottle drive that you'll find at the Greenwood Woodstock dump. That's our biggest fundraiser. So that's still going all the time. We could always use volunteers for that. We're working towards our first get together at the school right now, which is going to be like a fall event with hopefully some pumpkin carving and things here in October in a couple weeks. We'd love to see everybody for that. Besides that, everything's going well.
Thank you. Any further citizens' comments? Seeing none, board member comments? Maggie?
I would just really love to show my appreciation for the hiring committee. I think that particularly for our school board reps, Erin and Marcy and Stephanie, I went to the website and I did the survey and I was just completely impressed with the questions, the information that was given, the survey itself. It made me feel really proud to stand behind that process as a board member. And because I feel so proud of that process, I know I can feel really confident in the outcome. So I appreciate you for doing that, and I also appreciate the rest of the committee that took the time above and beyond to make that happen. Really well done.
Any further board member comments? Seeing none, chairman's report. At the last meeting, we had a question about the seating arrangement, so we did get some updated guidelines, and we do plan to go back to, before COVID, we used to do a horseshoe, so we're planning to go back to that. We figured for today, with the presentations we have and stuff, that it would be easier just to stay with this, so. We will try to switch that for the next meeting. Committee assignments were emailed out in the attachments with the agenda. You have a copy up here. Everybody got either their first or second choice, but if you have any questions, email David or I, and we can try to answer those for you. Our next meeting, as of right now, is October 24th. Like I sent out earlier, we might be making an adjustment to that later on. The Education Committee is proposed to meet on Thursday, October 20th, in the Norway Savings Bank Conference Room. Facilities Committee, Thursday, October 20th, also in the Norway Savings Bank Conference Room. Finance Committee to be determined, and the next Region 9 board meeting is Wednesday, October 5th at 6 p.m.
If I can just a second. And at the first meeting is, the committees will discuss times, like when you want to meet, so on. These are pretty much the times that these committees met last. So
What time is the education committee meeting?
3:15.
3:15. Okay.
Yeah,
Downstairs.
on October 20th. And then you'll elect chairs and vice chairs at that time as well. And committee reports. Marcy has an update on the superintendent search committee.
Yes. So the superintendent search committee slash interview panel has been working hard. We last met on September 19th. We were able to make quite a bit of progress. We have finalized our interview questions. We have been able to finalize and post our FAQs and our survey. Really, we got into this whole thing really all just wanting to be absolutely as transparent as possible, make sure that people have their questions answered within, obviously, the confidentiality guidelines that we are required to follow. So we are doing our very best to get that out there. The deadline for the survey is tomorrow at 3. Sorry. Our next meeting, we are planning the actual process of the interview, so like what we're going to do during that interview, the actual interviews, reviewing the rubric that we'll be utilizing, reviewing the survey information, obviously, and finishing up any last minute details. We do have interviews set up over the next couple of weeks, so we will be getting through those. We'll have a final meeting after that, hopefully, but we're hoping, to kind of wrap up and go through the rubric, review our interviews and what that looks like. As the email that went out, we are looking, I've been talking with Danny about potentially molding the two meetings together at the end of the month, just to give us a week or two more. Our goal really is to have some sort of recommendation to the school board at our October meeting, but giving us another week or two would be really beneficial so that we don't feel that we're hurried, because we have worked really hard on this process and definitely don't want to feel like we're going into it hurried or making any mistakes or missing something. So if that could be given to us, that would be super beneficial. You know, we've worked real hard to do the very best that we can, and we would hate to kind of move that too quickly. Although we do have a nice timeline set out if people get sick, little thing called COVID, if anybody's heard of it, or, you know, just if trying to line up 11 plus people's schedule is not an easy thing to do. It is not for the faint of heart. So it just would be giving us a little bit of wiggle room would be really, really helpful, and it would take a little of the pressure off in terms of getting that information, getting that wrapped up. So, did I forget anything? I think that's it. I think we've been working. Thank you, Maggie, for that. That was very nice.
Thank you. And yeah, I echo what Maggie said. Thank you for your work on that. Anything from Mr. Clinton?
Ms. Taylor emailed me. She said she is not able to make it tonight. She also was not able to make the last board meeting, so I don't have any report back from you tonight.
Pass it over to you.
Thank you. Since the last meeting, we've had some appointments, transfers and so on. So since our last meeting, we've hired Lucy Carter as an EdTech 3, Telstar Middle School Special Education. Selena Cinchon, Telstar grad, EdTech 1 at CPS, Special Education. Transfers, Marissa Henry from Telstar High School EdTech 1 to TMS EdTech 3, Special Education. And all these people have the required certifications. Schedule B appointments, since the last meeting, TMS Assistant Field Hockey Coach, Maya Taylor. TMS Cross Country Coach, Christy Hanscom. Telstar High School Math Team Advisor, Jonathan Erdy. Telstar High School Senior Class Advisor, Nicole Priola. Telstar High School Assistant Football Coach, Caleb Currier. Woodstock Student Council, Andrea Howe. Woodstock Yearbook, Linda Yates. Woodstock Soccer Co-Coaches, Erica Fujimaki and Catherine Miracle. And we did have a resignation. Brittany Arrington, EdTech 3 at Telstar, is moving out of state. She thanked us for the time that she spent here, and it was we'll miss her. She did a nice job for us. I have a couple of appointment presentations tonight. Before we do that, just a couple of quick announcements. One is we will be having the MSNA annual conference at the end of October, and if you are interested in attending, there is a registration fee, which we will cover. You just need to let us know that you're planning on going, and we can get you registered. Also, if you decide to stay overnight, please let me know, and we can make hotel accommodations for you as well. If you could let us know maybe in the next week or so, that'd be great, especially if you need a room, because those do tend to go very quickly. I hope you get a chance to go. If you've never been before, it's really a good experience. And you've seen, I think, some of the initial emails that have come from MSNA with some of the conferences and workshops that are available, and I believe Tammy and Cheryl are going to be the delegate and the alternate to represent you at the MSBA annual meeting. So thank you for that. I think I forwarded you an updated information from some updated information from Steve Bailey. Also, just want to let you know that I sent out an instant alert. If you're not on the instant alert notifications, I sent one out today. Just reminding people that the superintendent search survey closed tomorrow, so if they hadn't had a chance to participate in that, they should think about doing that. Also made people aware of the fact that we have kits with COVID tests, 5 tests to a kit. We were allocated 1 per student in the state, so every parent, every family who has children in the schools can contact their school office and either come in and pick up those kits, or if you notify the school office and ask that they be sent home with your child, the school will do that. We're not going to blanket just send them out to everybody because we'd like to make sure they don't get wasted. So, but they will be available either for pickup or we can send them home. And then there are a few other announcements in there as well. At this point, I would like to introduce Alec Newell. Alec is here tonight to talk a little bit about his role as Telstar's Alternative Learning Advisor. And he did come and speak to the Education Committee back in, I don't know, last spring sometime. And he's really been kind of hard to catch up with, but he did make time on his busy calendar for us tonight. So,
I could have made a Zoom meeting. If that would
Yeah, right. Thank you, Alex.
I want to thank Danny and David for allowing me to come and talk to you all, and thank you all for allowing me to have a few minutes of your time. I see some familiar faces in the crowd here, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alec Newell, and again, as David said, I'm the alternative ed coordinator here at school. This is my second go-around at Telstar. I was an English teacher from 2001 and 2005 here in class.
Welcome to my world.
But what is my position? My position is essentially one that I manage and support students who are in three of our major programs that we have at school here. The first program is our partnership with the Central Maine Community College. And that, of course, is something that is kind of coming back after COVID. Our School to Work program and our partnership with Edmentum, that is an educational platform for online courses. And a very popular one as well. We have a lot of students who choose online class, and if it fits in their schedule, and it works very well, I think, in a lot of ways. I'll talk more about it here in a second. I generally, my role with those three programs is basically I'm the advisor to probably 50 to 70 students throughout the course of the term, and in supporting them in dealing with all the different nuances that happen within each of these three very different learning environments. One is certainly people getting a chance to get an early jump on college education. Another one, an early jump into the world of employment, and then certainly being able to expand an interest, recover a credit, try something new, a topic, a subject area that they may have never had a chance to do, had a chance to take a class in. So all three of those are really where I kind of fall into this, and certainly those areas are pretty exciting in terms of what our students are doing. And I would just say the one word that would encompass all of that is opportunity. There are added opportunities that students are not going to get upstairs necessarily, but they're going to be able to find in more of an experiential learning type of environment. Certainly, if they're in the School to Work program. And I'll talk about each of those. Again, the CMCC program, new this year, kind of re-emerging this year, I should say, not new. We have 4 students who are basically full-time college students at CMCC. It's pretty exciting to see them in jumping into getting an early jump on some college work. They still are very much a part of Telstar. They are part of the senior class. They basically are they have filled all their credits, and so it allows them to be able to have that flexibility in their schedule to be able to take those college classes. So in looking at those 4 students, they do come back to school. They check in with their 7 Peaks advisor. So they're still kind of working on those requirements throughout the course of the year. Lori Lindsay is kind of my partner in crime with the CMCC program. I kind of see myself as, I see Ms. Lindsay kind of is kind of more focused with the academic side and looking at the, kind of talking with people at CMCC. I kind of see myself as Julie McCoy. I'm kind of the cruise director. I'm letting them know, hey, it's homecoming. We want you to come to dances. We want you to come to the football game. Senior dates, certainly, when they're capping down, measurements are due. Those kinds of things I'm sending usually a couple emails a week, just giving reminders that they're still, even though they're down at CMCC, they're still seniors at Telstar too, and have things that they need to take care of there. Our School to Work program. Some of the students certainly opt for work experience, and they can earn up to 3 credits throughout the course of the semester. So that's a huge benefit to students that are looking for that as their calling when they leave Telstar. Lots of different variety of experiences. We have students in retail, tourism, students in property management. A real exciting development last year was a relationship with Bethel Rescue. So we have students who are working to become EMTs, which is a pretty awesome thing as well. One of my favorites though last year was I did a site visit at Bethel Family Dentistry, and we had a student there who I wasn't really sure. My first site visit, wasn't really sure what to expect. I go in and I'm looking around, okay, where's he looking for? lab coat, mask on, all right next to the dentist. Spittle sucker in hand. I know it's probably not the appropriate term for that, but she was doing it. She was there, and her boss told me afterwards, if she wasn't in high school, we'd hire her in a second. You know, so just some really, really cool experiences these kids are doing here. And then the Adventum program, which really probably takes up a lot of my day, my day-to-day commitments. We have students coming in the library every period who are taking online courses. Again, some might need a credit recovery. Some might want to try something new. Others are trying to further a passion. And I'm gonna use Coral's daughter as an example of the passion that I saw last year. It really got me excited to see this. Coral's daughter's going to school for criminal justice, and there are a couple of classes that she wanted to take. Challenging classes, hard classes, but she was totally into these classes. I learned very quickly when one of my jobs at the Adventum during the class periods is to check in with everybody. How's everybody doing? Are we behind? Do we need a little motivation? How are we doing with things? And so I check in with Leah, and I have to really carve out some time. We learned very quickly I had to carve out some time because she wanted to talk about her course, and it was criminal. Geez, what was it?
Forensics?
Criminal forensics, secrets of the dead.
Secrets of the dead.
Yeah. So but I mean, this was an instance where here you have a student who is going to, hopefully what she learns here, her senior year in high school, is going to be something that's going to be beneficial to her when she gets to where she's going next. But and again, I have lots of students like that who are coming in and want to try something new, or really they're pretty sure they know what they want to do when they get out of Telstar, and these courses can help kind of get them where they want to be. I think that's kind of what I have in a nutshell. I don't know if I have time for a couple questions or.
Yeah, Al, how many kids do you have right now that are signed up for Adventum courses?
Adventum courses, 52, I believe, right? Or just
And what was it last year?
Last year we had a couple of different. We had due to some circumstances, obviously in the school, it was about the same in the fall, and then we had close to 80. We had a lot of kids in the library in the spring, and that was part of that was due to the unforeseen, the circumstances with Mayor Leo Hayda passing away. We had a lot of students come in and want to continue to take Spanish, and so we had a lot of students here taking that. But that was, again, that helps foreign language, where we have just Spanish being offered in the high school, but now we can also offer French, we can offer German, we can offer Latin through Adventum if need be. So it really expands the offerings, and like I said before, the word opportunity. It really gives these kids extra opportunities, and they're getting some great opportunities upstairs, but they're going to also be able to supplement that here.
Most of the courses are courses that are not offered at Telstar, or the kids can't get them because they have something else going on at that point in time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
And I would just mention also, we really try to encourage the kids to take classes in person if we can. I know Mark does a great job of when kids are kind of doing I call it the Bermuda Triangle of signatures. They have to kind of go and get a bunch of different signatures right in this little area here. And Mark does a great job of making sure that if it fits in their schedule in person, we really like to take that, in person. But again, there's going to be those circumstances where things aren't fitting in a schedule. I know for instance, we had several ninth graders last year who were kind of in accelerated math, and they were in Algebra 2, and Algebra 2 was not scheduled, but in the schedule when the students were here and not down at TFA. So that was a huge benefit to them to be able to jump in and take those courses and be able to come right in here in the afternoons and do that.
So it's open for 9 to 12?
Yep, exactly. I would say we had a lot of ninth graders last year doing because of taking Spanish 1 and kind of some of those lower level language courses, but mostly we see upperclassmen taking the courses. The other ones are kind of looking for those electives, and they're looking for some of those extra classes that once they fulfill all their requirements.
I would just say, I know it can seem, I think for parents it can be a little maybe intimidating or concerning because they're not really sure what to expect, but my son Hunter does it, and I just say thank you for the support that you end up with, like the teachers that reach out. It's been really great, so
I've been really impressed with the quality that Edmentum has put, the quality product that they put forward. They really, there's been very little in terms of any kind of issue that's come up. It's really been, I wasn't really sure what to expect, to be honest with you, and I was really, really happily surprised. And Charlie Raymond, who I took over for Charlie in this position, and he had nothing but praise to say about Edmentum as well. So
We really screened those. We were looking at several different possible online courses, and Edmentum replicated the classroom experience more than any other one. I think it's success. We've been doing it now for about 6 years, maybe.
Am I correct that those classes are covered as long as there's a passing rate?
yes, yeah, it's $300 is the course cost. If the student has a 70 or higher, Kenny gets to pay for it. If it's lower, then it's the students obligated to pay. So that's usually one of my cards that no one wants to pay $300. Let Mr. Kenny pay that bill, not let So it's a pretty easy card to play, and the kids respond. They don't want to pay that money, and they want to do well. So
Just not to interject again, but that comes out of the Telstar Alternative Learning line in your budgets. Good. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
if any time, I'm Nule at sad44.org, so if you have questions, feel free to fire me an email. I'll be happy to respond.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Alex done a great job. Really connects well with the kids and manages to keep an awful lot of balls up in the air at the same time. So I want to hear you speak Russian pretty soon.
You have to wait a while for that.
Right, right. At this time, I'd like to introduce Lindsay Smith. Lindsay's the program director for the North Star program. For those of you who've been on the board for a few years, you know that North Star was the result of a grant that SAD 44 and the University of Maine Learning Center wrote together 6 years ago. This year, it was a 6-year grant, and this is year 6. And so that'll be part of, I think, what Lindsay talks to you about, and I'll follow up with it at the end if we need to.
If you all stare at me, it won't work. So. That's how the technology always goes, right?
And you do support the North Star program within the budget. This year you have $20,000 budgeted to support the North Star program, and the goal is to try to get it so that it can continue after the grant funds are exhausted. But there are other hopes that we're able to continue to supplement the program with some more grant money.
Mike, is that the code on the top there? That's the
Yes.
code.
Just give us a second to get this hooked up here.
Or library TV.
Library TV.
That has to do with 7 o'clock. Let's start with Milton.
All right. So, hi, I'm Lindsay Smith. I'm the North Star Program Director. I recognize a bunch of you from previous years and some new faces in the room, so thank you for your service to our community, first of all, and being on the school board. We really appreciate you all. We have a pretty large group with us today. It's the first time we have brought students to come present about the North Star program, so I'm really proud of them for getting up here. We have a lot of butterflies in our stomach about presenting, so please, give us a little bit of slack if we're stumbling on our words or feeling a little bit nervous today, because it's kind of a big deal to get up in front of the cameras and all of you folks. So we're going to be kind of shifting some people through to give pieces of the presentation so that you can hear it from their perspective as well. So my name's Lindsay Smith. I've been with 4-H for about 14 years now, 6 of which I've been in charge of the North Star program, the program happening right here in this building in partnership with the Bryant Pond 4-H Center. And for our presentation today, we're going to give a very, very brief history, just because a lot of you probably have heard a little bit about how we got started and what we do, what North Star is. We're going to talk a lot more about what we accomplished this year, because it was our first year post-COVID that we really got a lot of stuff done. And we're really proud of all that we were able to accomplish this year, so we want to tell you about that. And as Dr. Murphy mentioned, this is the 6th year of a 6-year grant, and the future of North Star is kind of, it's coming. It's up to us now to figure out how to make this program still happen for the district and for our students that we're currently recruiting in this year's 7th grade class. And so we're kind of going to put some ideas out there as to what we're planning on doing with all of that as well. Yeah, so I guess just to start, I just wanted to share a really quick quote that kind of sums up our mentoring philosophy in a way that I think is pretty simple, but makes a lot of sense. And this is an unknown author for this quote. And the quote is, "A true friend accepts who you are, but also helps you become who you should be." And that really matters to us because we're trying to meet students where they're at. And sometimes that's not an awesome place where we get them, where we find them. And our goal is to try to help support them to being the best selves that they want to become, whatever that path might be. That's kind of our role, is that older brother or sister kind of figure in there to kind of hold their feet to the fire, but encourage and support them even through the hardest moments. And we had to put Charlie Raymond on the front because he's like one of our favorite volunteer guys and kind of our town mascot in so many ways, right?
And I feel like that picture is kind of the perfect metaphor for our program.
Charlie doing all the words,
Yeah,
kind of lounging for the day. Works out good. All right. And then I also wanted to start our presentation with this photo. And this photo means a lot to me. This is North Star's class of 2023 as 7th grade babies. This is our original, and I know some of you in this room can relate to the feeling of your students graduating this year and being really scared and excited for them, but also really proud of the people that they've become. And I have all those same feels about my North Star babies. My guinea pigs is what they call themselves, my first cohort, who have kind of been through the ringer with us and tried out all the different programming models and all the pieces, and we're finally at the place where it's kind of starting to stick, and we think we're doing the right things. So this is them, and my very first day in the building as the North Star program provider, I was in the 7th grade science class. I just shadowed kids all day, just trying to be where they were, right, meeting the kids where they were at. And we were playing Graveyard as just a silly kind of class bonding moment. And I'm laying on the floor playing Graveyard, and haven't done that in like many years, right? And one of these students looked over at me and she said, "You know what? I can tell that we're going to be friends for a really long time." And my heart just like, it's like I'm in the right spot, right? And that student is still a kiddo that I spend a lot of time with and have a major investment in their future, and they have a major investment in their own future, which is what I need to be doing and what they need to be doing. So I'm really proud of them, and their senior pictures are coming out, and it's just like, oh my God, I gotta fight back these tears every day that happens. But now we're in year 6, and we're serving about 25% of every grade level of Telstar students, 7th through 12th grade. We have about 25% of each of those classes involved in the North Star program in one way or another. And that isn't including the Friends of North Star, which is kind of this blanket umbrella where we try to recruit more folks, whether that's to be a North Star or just to support our service work in our community, because that whole school philosophy is really what we want to be working on is bringing everybody. All right, so a little bit of history, kind of what we're up to here, or what North Star is at the moment. And we're going to start back in like 2016. In 2016, the school district, so SAB 44 and the Vermont 4-H Center, were invited to apply for a joint grant for programming costs. Dr. Murphy and my boss, Ryder Scott, went in on that. They were awarded that grant from the Rural Futures Fund, and that money kind of was the spark to say, oh, you can collaborate. The school district and the 4-H Center can work together. With that, on top of programs like the Telstar Freshman Academy and our 5th grade classes going out for Lakeside Classroom programs, those really started to kind of build the trust and the buy-in from the funder that they were looking for to kind of prove that that strong partnership existed. So it started quite a while ago now, from one little seed grant that both organizations went in on, then 7 years later to what North Star has become. And so in 2017, we were invited to be part of a pilot statewide pilot. It started with 8 sites around the state. It is down to 6 sites around the state, still including North Star and the SAB 44 community. And it's a 6-year grant, $600,000 over the course of 6 years to fund 7 through 12 programming. And what I can tell you is that North Star is pretty unique in this statewide collaboration in that we don't charge our students anything to be a part of the program. Our whole program is grant funded and community supported, and that's the future. That's what we want it to be. We want it to be really low barrier to every family, no matter what they're coming to the table with. And so that's something that I personally am really proud of, and something that we stand behind at 4-H, and I know the district does as well. So that's something that's a little bit unique. Some centers are charging upwards to $600 a year per student to be involved in this type of mentoring program. So I'm proud that we can do that here for the costs that we do. And then, through support through the school system and the district and the board, financially supporting the program over the last few years, as Dr. Murphy said, and the constituents of our school system coming up to be volunteers, financially supporting us, sponsoring us as a business in different ways, hiring students in their businesses, those types of things. North Star is born, and that's where we are today, through the support of all of those people. So I'm going to hand it over to Justin. He's going to talk a little bit more about the details about what North Star is and what it means to our community. And then our students are going to share a little bit with you.
Hi everybody, my name is Justin Monson. I'm the new hire. I've worked for 4-H for a couple of years before, but I actually started with North Star in January. It's been so far a lot of fun. I'm really excited and grateful that you're having us here tonight, and excited to talk about what we do. So what is North Star? We're a youth mentoring model with some pretty reasonable goals, I think. Expanding student horizons and raising their aspirations, specifically after high school. Increasing resilience, fostering determination. We give them opportunities to practice leadership and community building skills. And we support not just students, but their families as needs arise. We're giving kids rides all over the place, just the little things that we can do to help support students and families. So I wouldn't say that these goals are necessarily very unique amongst youth-serving organizations. However, what makes North Star and the other aspirations incubated programs unique is our model is long-term. It's a 6-year-long model, and it's relationship-based. Relationships are the foundation of what we do. It's not a one-off, leadership workshop. It's not a space where students come and go. It's we form relationships with these students, and we are in each other's lives. So relationships not just with Lindsay and I as the staff of North Star, but relationships with our network of adult mentors. They're all volunteers in the community that come on our trips, that show up for service projects, and that also take these students out to experience the splendor of Western Maine and just care. So the relationships are the foundation of what we do. Student voice and choice, like I said, giving them an opportunity to practice leadership and plan these trips that we're going to get into a little more detail about. And then, as Lindsay mentioned, the financial accessibility piece is really huge for us. We don't want money to be a barrier, so using camping gear from Bryant Pond, and just doing what we can to connect students to some really incredible experience without asking for a dime from their families. So if you were here for Lindsay's presentation in December, this might look familiar. These are our core trips. Each grade level, we're organized into a group called a cohort. So it's year 6. We have 5 cohorts, and I'm recruiting cohort 6 right now. And each year they go on what's called a core trip. It's our one big trip. Some of them are a little more wilderness-based. Some of them are a little more urban. And because COVID, as you know, just really messed everything up, this is the first year we've really been able to put this vision into action. So it looked a little different when the rubber hit the road, but me and Lindsay went on an awful lot of really cool trips this summer, along with some of our students. And what we're going to do is actually hand it off to some of them to describe these trips. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up Patience. Flip your own slide.
Hi, I'm Patience. I've been in North Star for a little over 3 years now. I actually started when I wasn't supposed to, but It's a good thing about Lindsay, she lets things slide sometimes. But in this, we went to Acadia last year. Well, not last year, like June.
Yeah.
But, so we were camping in Acadia National Park. We got to visit the College of Atlantic and the Natural History Museum there, which was actually really cool, because they had a bunch of, stuff. Taxidermied animals in a bunch of different habitats. And the college students themselves actually did them, so that was really cool to see. And we went, helped the Friends of Acadia. Flossing Rockefeller's teeth is what they called it. It's a bunch of teeth lined up through the Trails of Acadia. Yeah. Sorry. And we went on the boat, which is called the Sunbeam. It was really big, really cool. And we went biking on the Acadia trails that we flossed. And right here, we stopped by a little store, which we weren't actually planning on going, which was really cool. And we got to meet the artist of this very expensive jewelry that he let us try on, which was actually really cool. And okay.
Hi everybody, my name is Beth Clark, and I am the Maine West Education Director, and I work out of Vermont 4-H Camp and Learning Center. And one of my roles is to support mentorship and aspiration building in middle school and high school students. And the districts that I work in RSU 10, RSU 56, SAT 17, and lucky for me, SAT 44. And so this summer, I think it was probably the end of June, beginning of July, we got this phone call from the executive director of a place called the Hurricane Island Center for Science and Leadership. And it's off the coast, can only get there by boat, and I just want you to know that I had nothing to do, I have nothing to do with how North Star was formed or what incredible opportunities these kids because of the adults in their lives, but the state is incredibly aware of what's going on here with these kids and the commitment and the passion that the adults in this room have for the program. So they reached out to us and said, hey, we have an opportunity. We got a grant through the Department of Education. We want to do some experiential science for a cohort of kids. Are you interested? And Justin and Nancy and I were like, yeah. I mean, they paid for our transportation to Camden. They paid for our ferry rides. They paid for all of our food. They paid for all of our time. And because of that, our rising 8th graders had 5 days on this island. And there were so many firsts. We went lobstering, caught our own dinner. We did a lot of pier jumping. I think at low tide, Alice, was it 20 feet we jumped? We did some rowing. We did some coastal cleanup. What else did we do? Alice, can you stand up? So Alice is one of our student leaders, and she was like the third adult on the island with our kids. She was great at counting heads. I could not keep track of the kids the way that she did, and the care and the love and the support that you gave those guys at night and all during the day was really important, and we couldn't have done it without you. But anyways, lots of firsts. We had a raft challenge, we rode ferries, we went lobstering, we rode, we rock climbed in this beautiful quarry where Hurricane gets their island. Just so many firsts. And the kids were a little bit nervous. Some of them had never been on a ferry, never mind slept away from them for 4 nights. And there were lots and lots of moments that I took away with me from this experience, and I just wanted to share 3 quick ones. The first was we were getting ready to go, our bags were packed, all of our COVID tests were done, we were getting ready to board the vans, and Justin got a phone call from a parent, and the parent said, I can't get my son out of bed, he doesn't want to go, he says he doesn't have anything to do with it, I And Justin talked her through what she needed to do to get him to come. I think she threw things in his bag, took him out of bed, plopped him in front of us. We did his COVID test. And the last night we were on the island, he said, I'm not afraid of the dark. It was dark, but I'm afraid of what's in the dark. So will you come with me to find my water bottle? And as we're walking quietly over the granite rock, he said, my mother was right. And I'm so glad I'm here. And then two other quick pieces. One of the students who I've known for a really long time, who hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity in his life to do things like hurricane, said to us on the ferry ride home, as soon as I graduate from high school, I'm coming back to this place and I'm going to work as an educator. And then the third anecdote was, we played this fishing game when it was raining one day, and it was all about sustainability and creating a job for yourself, which involved fishing, and you had to be able to catch enough fish to support your family, but you couldn't overfish and deplete the bay of fish. And he harped on that the whole time we were there, and as we were going home, he said, I want to be a fisherman. This is what I want my life to be like. So, there are people all over the state that are looking for opportunities just like the adults in these kids' lives are, and we get to reap the benefits, and I tell you, it was the highlight of probably the last 10 years in education. So. Oh, am I not supposed to introduce myself?
That's back to me, actually.
By the way, for those of you who don't remember, Beth was the Andover Elementary principal for us for a while, and also the Title I director back in her previous life. So good to have her back.
Yeah. So either right before or right after that, my summer kind of blurred together. So the current freshmen, but back then there were 8th graders, we did our tour of Vermont. And we hung out in western Vermont. We camped on the Champlain Islands. We got to explore Burlington. We were swimming in Lake Champlain. We climbed Camel's Hump, which was, I think, the most challenging part of the trip for a lot of the students. But as you can see, we got a glorious view of the inside of a cloud. And it was first 4,000 footer for a lot of these folks. So that was a really great experience. And I just want to, another feature of these trips, Beth was kind of talking about that, but we have, part of our program is we have students, older students from cohorts serving as team mentors towards younger cohorts. And so often a big part of that is they will come on trips. So Alice served as a team leader, and I don't remember who we had on. It was Izzy was along on this one. So just putting those students in a leadership role with trips, ideally, that they will have already have been on. That's our goal. So yeah, these guys actually haven't really gotten a chance to go camping with us because the last 2 years we haven't really been able to do much programming. So it was a lot of practicing camping skills. We explored Smuggler's Notch. The weather was awesome. And it wasn't all roughing it. We got to go to the Pump House Water Park at Jay Peak and see some thrills there. And that was also a blast. So next, Oh yeah, and we toured Champlain College in Burlington, and I think for a lot of these students, since they're so young, it was their first college tour. And it was really interesting to see everybody's reaction to, like the dorm and, the typical features, but Champlain College is a really small school. So they were really interested to hear about all the different intramural activities they can do, and yeah, it was a really good experience to see everybody interface with the college. So yeah, that was cohort number 4. And so now, from cohort number 3, I'd like to bring up Allison Noah.
Hi, I'm Noah Cunnington. I'm in the class of 2025. I'm a sophomore. And I was involved with North Star since 6th grade, also before the year I was supposed to. I met Lindsay, and my brother was a 7th grader at that time. And I met Lindsay, and she was like my favorite person at that time. Because it was just rough at the time at that, and I was just getting into middle school, and then I met Lindsay. So, for our cohort 3 trip, we paddled the west side of the Penobscot, and when we were driving up, it was all nice, and then as soon as we got to the Sabumic campground where we met Norm Lewis, he was a former forester and game warden here in Bethel. It started to thunder, and it was a big thunderstorm. So once we got down and got settled, we went up to see and talk to Norm, where he gave us history of the campground and how him going through all of his jobs was like how his experience through going through all of his jobs. After we spent the night at the Sabumic campground, we went on our canoes and started paddling to our second spot, which was Lobster Lake, which we set up camp, and then in the picture over there is a beautiful sunset where we all just enjoyed our second day of camping. It was a really fun day. For my second from sophomore, I'd like to bring up Alex.
Hello, my name is Alice Ford. I am a sophomore and a member of cohort number 3. I got involved in North Star in 8th grade. I joined North Star because I was a new student and it was recommended that I join to meet new people. So some other highlights from our trip was when we had a campfire, which is in that photo, and it was fun because we bonded and we had like a great time with laughing and jokes and stuff. And then like we ate s'mores, and then we traveled the same path as Henry David Thoreau did. The hardest part of the trip was canoeing because it was hard on the arms and stuff with all the paddling. Something I would never forget from this trip was while we were canoeing, we were singing songs and making jokes, and then Noah and Pta were pretending to be old married couple, and they stayed in their character most of the time. Yeah, it was. Now I would like to introduce a junior, Czar.
So, I'm Czar. I'm a junior and I've been in North Star since 6th grade when I met Lindsay and started hanging out. This year my cohort took a trip to the Phippsburg Peninsula. We camped at Hermit Island and saw the sunset from the cliffs. We also sea kayaked to Fort George's and learned the history behind that. And along with that, we attended a lighthouse tour with the Maine Maritime Museum. And although the ride was a bit bumpy, it added to the excitement. And then the following day we went to the botanical garden, and we were able to see the trolls and learn the history behind that. Each troll had kind of its own little special story and its kind of personality. We went to Taco Trio and tried new things, even though I think we were all pretty scared to try new things, but we ended up kind of getting over it. The hardest part of the trip, personally, was just kind of getting along. I mean, I work good with people, but it was hard kind of being in a different area. And with the kayaking, I was a little nervous, but because I'm usually not too comfortable on water, but it's fun. And then I'll never forget the sea kayak because it taught me to really face my fear and push myself out of my comfort zone because it can be worth it. I gained so much confidence from this trip, and I would go again if I had the opportunity. And I will pass it on to Senior Keaton.
Hello, I'm Keaton, and I'm a senior graduating this year. And And this summer, we went on our Canada trip to Montreal. We stayed there for 5-ish days, like basically a week. And basically one of the first things we did is we went to Mission Montreal, which is a food pantry, and they provide all the food pantries within Montreal, which is a huge city, with all their food. And we organized food. I personally ended up organizing meat, and all the packages were in French. And we had Marcel, who was one of our, like, what is he? Mentor. He goes with us on all our trips, and he's the only one in our group who knows French. So he's with my group because we're the only ones with a guy who can't speak English, and he's reading off what the meat is, and then he goes, horse. And he had no idea where to put it, and ended up with the beef. And I thought that was just very fun and interesting. And then we went on this hike, so you can see that picture down there. And I hate hiking. It's like one of my least favorite things in the world. And I thought where we were in the city, we were escaping it, but Lindsay slipped it in somehow. But let me tell you, it was really worth it. The site was beautiful, and you could see the whole city from down below on the mountain. And in this building that was on the top, they had gargoyles that were little squirrels, and I thought that was so fun. And then here you have us on a park playing. Our parks are super weird and not like typical American parks, so it felt like being like a little kid again. And that was right outside the biodome where we went and like explored with a bunch of bugs and like got to be like giant bugs for a bit, and that was really fun. And then that's us on the subway, and on the subway we learned how to navigate it in a different language in a different country. So we would ride the subway from our hostel to the places we were going, and we were like expected to navigate it. And then there's us at the entrance of Chinatown, which they spoke 3 different languages there, which was French, English, and Chinese, and it was just completely amazing to see like how different it was in that one section from the rest of the city, which was just French Canadian. And then we went to Cirque du Soleil, which is a famous Montreal French circus, and it was just super amazing and beautiful. And the whole thing was in French, so I had no idea what was going on, except you can kind of tell the story from like the body language and the movements, and the performers were just awesome, and everyone had such a great time, and like it was literally beautiful and breathtaking most of the time.
So that's kind of an overview of the core trips, which are, like the big fun flashy part, but then what do we do for the rest of the year? So a lot of what North Star does is service projects, and we partner with more than a few different programs in town. We've recently expanded on several of these partnerships. Just go through real quick. Age-Friendly Community Initiative, we work with them, what we call our Handy Neighbor program. So you can see us, we're stacking wood here. We've stacked woods, we've cleaned up yards, you name it, we do it, and usually we get cookies at the end. It's pretty awesome. At least 15 area seniors have benefited from our very exuberant crews. We work with the Rotary Club, specifically Interact. We help out at the yard sale, and this year we were able to raise a little money for North Star. We run a thrift shop. It's just a clothing exchange here at the high school that we call the Giving Closet. So we have tons of clothes. So we sold a lot of clothes there, and we were able to donate a bunch to some of the immigrants in Lewiston. Edible Bethel, we work with them in our community garden, which is right next to the old Davos. And we grow produce there that the students bring around to a lot of our area seniors to give them some fresh veggies. And then Outing Club, we partner with them a lot. We help out at the ski swap. We volunteer at the cross-country ski race, the Flying Moose Classic. And they support us a lot with athletic equipment. They've given our students cross-country skis to borrow, fat bikes to use, so big part of getting them outside. And even though Keaton hates hiking, that's why we do this kind of stuff. And then BAM, Bethel Area Arts and Music, we have some future projects with them on some murals and painted bench work. So we're really excited about that. The biggest part of this for me is just seeing like the interaction between our students and the older generations in town. There's lots of seniors in our area, as you all know, so just seeing them doing yard work together and just helping each other out, the older folks giving their knowledge and wisdom, and seeing our guys, help them out with stuff that would have taken them a lot longer to do. It's been really rewarding. Workforce development. So Beth was up here earlier, and yeah, she's been hired at the 4-H camp as part of a big grant from Maine West, and that helps our program as well as a bunch of other school districts, but her focus is getting young people connected to jobs. So we've been able to get a bunch of North Star students hired for summer work and beyond with help from the River Fund. They had a program called Project Play, where three of our students were helping coach younger kids in their summer rec programs. Local Food Connection helped us hire 2 of our North Star students as garden managers. Alice was one of them. So helping run the garden and helping to fundraise for that as well. And then MKA and the Bryant Pond 4-H camp have also hired some North Star students. Other local businesses that have hired some of our students, I'm just going to shout them out real quick. Les Muits, Steam Mill Brewing, Philbrook Place, the Bethel Sugar Shack, the Pie Hole, the Gem Theater, Sunday River, Carter's Farm, Grace Note Inn, and the Bethel Inn, the Bethel Clean Liner, Mount Abram, Dunkin' Donuts, and others. So just getting these kids connected with jobs has been a huge part and very rewarding. And then a special shout out to Congregational Church, who gave some scholarships for 4 students to take driver's ed, which is huge. So really grateful to all of those partnerships. And then as far as collaborating with the district, we are, Matt, Christy, and Norm Greenberg, who are employees of the 4-H camp, are going to be leading an outing club here at the high school. Lindsay has taken on running the Rotary Youth Club, the Interact, and I am hopefully going to be working with Gardens of Telstar in the future, so kind of rolling in what we do at the community garden. So that's some future offerings that we're hoping to expand to. And now I'm going to bring Lindsay back up to talk about some of the statewide data about why our program works.
We won't talk too much longer because I know we're a little bit over, but so basically because of all these community collaborations and the experiences that these students are gaining through North Star, we have some of our data that have come out since our year 3 report. So the reports you have in front of you, this is where this data is coming from, and we'll be having new data sets coming out shortly. But 93 of our statewide students that are involved in Inspiration Incubator are reporting that they feel more connected to their community, which is a huge goal of what we're doing. 95 report that the program helped them experience new places and accept people that are different to them. This is the other view from Mount Royal, actually looking down onto the city. 70% report positive growth on measures related to learning and school engagement, which I know you all care very much about. And 93% of our 8th graders report that they will finish high school, with 88% of them believing that they're going to go on to higher ed. Those numbers are awesome, and that's statewide. So there's good work happening everywhere, and we're just here to highlight what's happening here in our district. So we're going to have brief versions of just like a few little personal testimonies that students would like to share with you. I know we're running over.
Don't worry about it, it's great.
Okay, so I think Keaton is going to go first. And you can probably stay where you are. Keaton's our theater guy. So when I joined North Star, I was not very nice. I was kind of mean. I didn't like people. I was just coming out of like kind of a bad spot in my life, and I was grouchy, mean, quiet, and I kind of just didn't do anything except read my books. And then I met Lindsay, and she pushed me and did a lot of different things, like a lot of hiking, and I mean a lot. And now I'm outgoing, I know what I want to do, and I want to help people and do things within my life, and I either want to like go on and like do things to help people within my own communities and stuff such as that, and go on to be a lawyer or a politician in college.
Your turn. Oh, here comes Zara.
Being a North Star member to me really gave me the opportunity to be more involved in my community. It taught me leadership skills. It just gave me like more of a role, and it kind of gave me a voice, because before I didn't really feel like I had a voice to make things happen. So now I'm more involved. Previously I didn't really speak up much. I was shy. I didn't really have much confidence. But now I just speak out. Pretty much having mentors in my life has just pushed me. now pass it to Noah.
Hi, it's me again. So when I was in 6th grade, I met Lindsay, and I was also at a low point in my life, and I was not officially in North Star, but Lindsay let me come on some trips to go skiing and a lot of stuff, and I realized that I really enjoy doing all this type of stuff. So when I got more in upper grades, I became more involved in that. It seemed like every day after school, that's what I did, is stuff like North Star. And we learned a lot. We also did gardening, and we went skiing, and we did a lot of activities outside, and you also got to experience more friendship, and you get more open people who fit your personality wise. So you get to know more people and have more experiences. And I'll pass it to Alice.
North Star made an impact on me because it brings me closer to the community, and I feel like I can be more comfortable of who I am and knowing that I can be me. And I look forward to learning about the community a little bit more. I will now pass it down to Patience.
When I first started North Star, it was actually because of this kid. I started the summer going into 6th grade, actually. I remember seeing him there and being like, oh my god, I know him. And he convinced me to go, because at the time I was also in a very bad spot. I was bounced around a lot when I was younger. And before I actually became someplace stable, I joined North Star, and I actually had a place to go after school instead of being cramped in one place. And I had people to talk to and a whole community to look after me.
Alright, I hope you're all touched by these lovely kids sharing their hearts and their testimonials. Thank you guys. That's really sweet. So, I hope that motivates you all to want to join our team, right? We need everybody. We need every single adult in our community to play a role in some way, whether that's being a cohort mentor, going to our meetings, going on these amazing trips with us, whether that's an activity specialist, somebody that has a passion that they want to share with these students. There's somebody that you can connect with in our crew with whatever it is you want to share or learn from our students as well. We're also looking for folks to do college and career coaching now that our students are graduating and starting college applications, and that whole process is something that we could really use some support on, and academic tutoring. So there's a role that anybody can play if they want to get involved in North Star. You don't have to go hiking like Keaton has been harping on. We're not all hiking.
What if you do like hiking?
Join out and club.
It makes a very fun trip from the way.
So my number's up here. You can reach out to me through pretty much anybody in the school system. Call 4-H if you're looking for us. We'd love to get you involved in that way. And then kind of lastly, as we mentioned, this is our 6th year and our 6th year of funding. So we are looking for financial stability and support going forward. We're really thankful for the district's support thus far. And I'm here to encourage you to continue to fund us and our program and these amazing students that make up 25% of the population here in this building. And you're looking at class of 2027, I believe, right here. And
that's the future, folks. Right?
Yeah, that is the future. These are our current 8th graders, and we're in the middle of recruiting 2028, and so we need everybody. We'll be launching our Adopt a Cohort model. It's kind of our fundraising model going forward, and we've had some pretty good success with getting outside funding sources through Project Opportunity, through Norrie Savings Bank. We have quite a list who we're going to be tapping into over the next few months to try to get our programming costs covered, and then we'll be working on staffing costs from there. So we definitely need support in all avenues, and for those organizations, businesses, individuals that can't support a whole cohort, we're looking for event sponsors, sponsor a student even within those cohorts. Like I said, every penny really does count. So again, we just want to thank you for having us today. I know we were a little long-winded, but we had a lot to share, and thank you for your support for future generations. Okay.
of the best presentations I've ever seen from students. You guys did a fantastic job with presentations. I think you should all go hiking.
Keith, you gonna come along and
I always go.
Now I'm gonna drive them all home.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Just, I've had a chance to kind of watch this from afar, but I heard this come up a couple of times with some of the people who spoke. They said, try new things and first-time experiences. How many of you would say that by being a North Star, you've done things that you never would have done? And it's so evident. And you've taken challenges, and you've all talked about your own personal growth. Very impressive job. Thank you guys for running this program and making it happen. Thank you for making it successful.
We've got the good ones.
You do?
I'd say thank you to Lindsay for making it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye, all. Thank you so much. We've already.
So the only other thing I have on my report is just to let you know that we have officially declared affordable surplus. There doesn't seem to be any interest in it from any of the towns, so we'll be putting it out to bid and seeing what we can get on for money that can go towards supporting some of the other programs that we have. And then I do have Mark Kenny, who is going to talk to you a little bit about something I mentioned in the memo, upcoming NEASC accreditation at Telstar.
I'll be shorter. But I do want to say, the reason this program is so successful, Lindsay and Justin, we are beyond fortunate to have the two best people working with our kids. The kids take this program, and their biggest goal, they want to take everybody. And they know they can't, but they are part of the staff. They are in here daily, weekly. They are here with the kids in all aspects. So they are just like part of the Telstar family. That's what's made it work so successfully. And the kids couldn't have spoken better. So for NEASC, we are in our final phase of high school accreditation. It's supposed to happen every 10 years. We've been actually 12 years since the high school is accredited, simply because they changed over to a new system, and we were able to defer and wait to the new system, which is a much better process to go through. This is your informal invitation to join us. The committee is going to be here for 4 days. They arrive on Sunday, October 16th, and they leave on October 19th, Wednesday. But that Sunday evening is when they would like to meet with the board. And so I will send a follow-up email with information later on. But on Sunday, October 16th, from 4:50 to 5:30, here in the library, the committee, the visiting committee, and there are 6 of them coming from around New England, would like just to be able to come and pick your brain, talk to you, and learn a little bit more about the district through your eyes as board members. Like I said, it's very informal, kind of a meet and greet, Q&A type thing here in the library, and I will send an email as it gets closer to follow up to that. They're going to meet with a group of parents and the PTAs before, and then the school board, and that will just be Sunday night, and then they're going to be here with us during the school day on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, all day. They're going to be visiting classrooms. They're going to go to TFA. They're going to sit in 7 Peaks classes in the high school. They're going to eat lunch with the kids on Monday. That's one of their asks. They want to eat at the high school lunch period. I said, "You're really sure?" They really want to. So we will make that happen. And they're going to be staying at the Bethel Inn. But they are going to be here for those 3 days. We had our decennial visit back in December of 2020, which was the initial visit in this whole new process. It is changed to a growth model with 5 standards versus the old model, which was 10 standards, and was very report heavy and data heavy. This model is much more school friendly. It's on a growth plane. It's just like we do with our teachers and our kids. And so that visit back in December 2020 gave us some target areas to work on. This is a chance to show what we've been doing since then and the work we've been doing and the goal for the next 10 years beyond this. And there's a report that comes up every 3 years after this visit that we just give updates to the committee. This process is important for our kids simply because having an accredited high school does allow our student body opportunities for scholarships that they would not normally get, and it does help when they're applying to different colleges to show they are from an accredited high school. But it's also just helped us put ourselves under a very critical lens and really look at our programming, why we're doing what we're doing, are we hitting our target audience, are we getting the outcomes that we want? And it's a work in progress. So this will be a progress update and allow us to see where we've been and where we're going. So that's the kickoff of this whole thing. So, any questions? So if you're able to join us, that would be great. It won't be too long on a Sunday evening. We'll have a few refreshments here, but it's more just, they always like to kind of meet the school board and get your perspective and kind of go from there, whether you meet the staff and students. Okay? Awesome. Thank you.
That concludes superintendent's report.
Old business, I don't believe we have any new business. Adjustments to the agenda. Hopefully you all saw my email earlier, but I think Marcia would like to make it.
I made a motion because I had to make a motion for discussion about changing the October-November school board dates to November 7th, one meeting.
Alright, okay, thank you. So again, this is just to put it on the agenda and we can discuss the reasons why and stuff later on, but this does require 2/3, I believe, to make the adjustment. But any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. So we'll add that in as number 7. Alright, number 3. See what action the board wishes to take regarding approval of the superintendent's nomination of a grade 7 science teacher for the Telstar Middle School to a first probationary contract for the 2022-23 school year.
So we pass out some packets while we're...
You want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's nomination of grade 7 science teacher from TMS for the first probationary teaching contract.
Thank you. Second. Marcy? Alright, and discussion, I'm sure David has this.
We're very fortunate tonight. We actually have some recommendations that we'll be making for appointments that are going to see ed techs within our school system move into teaching positions. And these people would all have received their required certifications in order to be able to do that. There should be enough copies if anybody's missing one. Are there any extras?
Yeah.
I guess there should be one to the board chair. Thank you. So the recommendation for the 7th grade position is Haley Andrews, and Haley has been ed tech here with us at Telstar, and comes highly recommended. We actually had, Mark, how many did you had 3 candidates interviewed too?
Correct.
And so we were able to get some candidates for that, and we think Haley knows the building, knows the kids. We think it would be a great fit. So the recommendation from the interview committee to me and me to you is that we hire Haley Andrews for this position.
Any further discussion?
Sorry to ask, but
Sure.
the agenda says grade 7.
Yes.
Her application says grade 2, upper right-hand corner. Andrews is the one?
I don't have the, yeah, she actually applied for a couple of different positions. She was interviewed for several,
Thank you.
or 2.
Says at the bottom.
Yeah, no, thank you, Scott.
Further discussion? All in favor? And we'll collect those at the end. Number 4, see what action the board wishes to take regarding approval of the superintendent's nomination of a social studies teacher for Telstar High School to a first probationary contract for the 2022-23 school year.
I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's nomination of social studies teacher for Telstar High School for the first probationary contract 22-23.
Yeah, so this is Dee Johansson. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah, thank you. So again, Dee has been a tech in our building, and actually her background is in education. And so we were very pleasantly surprised to find out that she was qualified to receive certification as a social studies teacher. And I think she's in the process. I don't know if she's actually gotten that yet. She did get it, okay. I know she had applied for that, so she's fully certified. So, again, great find for us and recommended by the committee, and I'm recommending her to you. Had a chance to speak with her on the phone about this too, and I think she's very excited about it. She has attended school at UNE for education.
Any discussion on this position? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Number 5, see what action the board wishes to take regarding the appointment of a local credentialing committee team member for a 2-year term.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of a local credentialing committee team for a 2-year term.
Thank you. Second.
So at the last meeting, I think it was, you approved some appointments for the LLC. Denise Keogh had represented the Woodstock School, and you might recall Denise resigned over the summer for personal reasons. And Erica Fujimaki from the Woodstock School has indicated an interest in stepping into that position to represent the school, and I recommend her for that. Erica's a 4th grade teacher at the Woodstock School. And this will complete the committee.
Any discussion on the committee? All in favor? Thank you. Number 6, see what action the board wishes to take regarding the approval of the appointment of John Elliott Jr. as the district's affirmative action officer for 2022-23 with a stipend of $1,500.
Motion to approve John Elliott Jr. as the district's affirmative action officer for 2022.
Second.
So you may recall, John has served in this capacity before. We provided him with some extensive training as an affirmative action officer last year, working with some of the folks from German Woodsum. At one point in time, we were talking about maybe having the special ed director pick up this responsibility. After the investment of time and effort and training that we put into John, we think it would make much more sense to have him continue in that capacity for the time being. And he's done a good job in it, and the stipend is the same as it has been. It's not a different stipend, so I would recommend him for that position.
Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Meredith?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And number 7, Marcy, would you like to make that motion?
Sure. Making the motion to change the October, am I going straight to that?
Yeah.
Making a motion to change the current October-November meeting to November 7th.
Yep, so basically, motion to cancel the October 24th and the November 28th meeting, and reschedule a meeting for November 7th, which is Monday. Would you like to second that motion? Second. And discussion, so as I said in the email, Marcy reached out to me that it would help them, help the superintendent search committee have a little extra time. Speaking with David, typically the November agenda is a lighter one, so meeting twice in November probably wasn't necessary. So if we push that back, we think we can combine it to one meeting, but certainly take any discussion that we need.
Just to add to that, the meeting following would have been right after Thanksgiving, and we would be, it's typically, as Danny said, on a light agenda. We would get a workshop day that Wednesday and Thursday and Friday is out, so. Makes sense. What's that? 12 hours.
So again, this would cancel the October 24th meeting and the November 28th meeting, and we would just have one meeting on December 7th. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. And everyone's favorite, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Daryl, all in favor? Thank you.
Don't touch it.
I felt that.